Hello everyone, Roguefox here, and welcome back to another Minecraft tutorial. Today we will be covering two auto pumpkin and melon farms for version 1.2.6. One's going to be very cheap to make, and the other one's going to be a little more expensive, but as someone who likes redstone, I find it very more satisfying. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into today's builds. Our first farm for today is going to be using the torch burnout clock as you see to the right. It's very simple to make. All we need is a 7x7 area like you see to the left right there. And let's pop open the chest to see our supplies. Now, as I mentioned, it's going to be very cheap to make as you can see right above. You might want to grab a lever for those pistons as we're going to be moving some dirt around just to get our hopper minecart into place. So with that, if you want to pause the video, go ahead and do that, gather the supplies, and then we'll jump right into our build. Now that we have all of our supplies, let's go ahead and jump right into our build. As I mentioned, we will need a 7x7 area like this, and I also forgot to mention that we will need one rail for a hopper minecart. We're going to be setting up a temporary block, and in order to do that, we need to set a rail up on top of a block. So I forgot to mention that, and I apologize for that. So go ahead, grab yourself a rail, and let's go ahead and continue on. Now what we want to do is come to the center point of our 7x7 area, right here, and we're going to knock out an L just like this, and we're going to go 2D just like that. Next, come down, we're going to go ahead, you can see my rails from before. Next, come back behind here, put a hopper into the chest like that, and then run this hopper into the back of that hopper. Now this is where we're going to set up our temporary block, put it right here. Let me grab my rail, I'm going to need that in a second. Rail, get your hopper minecart, put it on top. We're going to break this just like that, so this sits right on top of our hopper. Next, we want to go ahead and knock this block out right here. Put a piston down for now. If you brought that lever, this is where you're going to use it. I forgot it, so I'm going to do a piece of redstone and a torch, and we're going to go ahead and push the dirt into the hopper minecart like that. Go ahead and remove that, and I'm going to put this dirt back. So that sets up that system here. So we can go ahead, cover this hopper up, and patch this back up like so. Next, what we want to do is set up our pistons. So find the center point of each side and come one block in right here, like this. Put your pistons down, and it should look like that. Let's go ahead and set up our glass. Put one here. One right there over our chest, one right there, and on this side we're going to go ahead and punch this out, and we're going to throw in our bucket of water. Put that in right there, and go ahead and cover that up. So for the first part, it should look a little something like this. Now let's go ahead and set up our redstone torch burnout clock. So I don't recall how it works in the other editions, but what this is going to do is going to fire these pistons every 31 to 32 seconds. And if you see what I'm doing here, I'm just placing torches along the back of our pistons just like that. And we're going to go ahead and put a block above each torch. Like I was saying, I'm not sure how it worked in the other editions, but this is what's going to be running our farm. And you'll see how it works in a second if you don't already see it. Next, grab our redstone dust and just put it on top of each piston. You can see that extends each one. Now, for now, as we first build it, it's going to fire in the order that we place down our redstone. But when we back out of our world and come back in, they will all fire at the same time. So, just want to let you guys know that. What we're going to do now is set up our melon, pumpkins, whatever you have. Come to the center, till this, put your seed in. Go ahead and bone meal it if you want to. And then we're going to go ahead and set up our glass on top like so. Like that, like that. And this is so mobs don't come wandering in. If you want, you could probably cover up the top with a piece of glass as well. And believe it or not, this is this build finished. So let's go ahead and see. Grab a pumpkin. So as it goes, let's say it grows like that. And it's going to follow its timer, as I mentioned, every 31 to 32 seconds. and it pushes it in like so. So let's go ahead. You can see it's down there. So it'll grow wherever it's going to grow. And then, as I mentioned, it's just going to push it right in. Now the only concern I had about this is I'm not too sure of the mechanics of how everything goes. I know in order to grow a pumpkin, it looks for valid areas to grow it. But with the pistons firing every 31 and 32 seconds, I'm not sure if that messes up its tick count or however that works. Like that, if it takes that away and then restarts the timer. But we will come up with a few pumpkins per hour. It's not much, but as you can see, it's very easy to make. And we can obviously scale that and build different modules all around. So that's our first build finished. Now let's go ahead and get into the more fun, complicated, yet more expensive one. Before we continue on, I just wanted to fly over all the different models I was working on in order to try to get this pumpkin melon farm to work. As you can see, it came with a bunch of different crazy designs, and I finally found one of these that were going to work. But in the end, it was this little farm here at the end that ended up being the cheapest to make and gave us the same drop rates as the farm we're about to create in just a moment. So with that being said, both farms are going to drop about the same amount of pumpkins, but like I mentioned, the second farm we're going to do is a little more expensive and involves a lot more redstone tricks, which is why I personally like it. Now if you're going for something cheap and easy to make, the one that we're looking at right now is definitely the way to go. But for fun, I thought I'd throw in the second design as well. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into that one. For the next farm, we want a 5x7 area, just like this. And if we go ahead and look at our supplies, you can see it is going to be a lot more expensive, as I mentioned. You can see all the iron we're going to be using up just in these first 3 slots. But I found this build to be a lot more satisfying, like I said, when it comes to redstone. And I actually learned a lot from it, so I think it could be very educational when we're building this. Maybe you guys may learn a thing or two, maybe you already knew about it, but like I said, this one was fun to build, and I hope this helps you guys out when it comes to understanding redstone. And before we move on, just over here to the left, I do have 2 wooden swords. The reason for that is we need 2 non-stackable items that need to go into our dropper. Here, our 2 droppers actually. So that's the reason why I have those. Now if you want to go ahead and pause the video, gather those supplies, do that, and we'll jump into the build. So let's go ahead and get started building from the bottom up once again. So we're going to come to the center here and knock out a T, just like this, and we're going to go 2 down for each one. Just like that. Next we want to grab our chest, put them down like that. Grab your hopper, run one to the back of the chest, and then run these hoppers into the center hopper here. So crouch place those. And now this is going to be the tricky part because we need to balance one hopper minecart over 2, and then we're going to have our other hopper minecart sitting on top of this one. So let me go ahead, just to keep things in place, put a temporary block over here, and let's put temporary block over the center, put a rail down, get your first hopper minecart, put it up top, go ahead and break it just like that, and let's go ahead and try to nudge this. Yeah, looks good to me. Next, get another temporary block, put it over this hopper, and put another rail. Grab your hopper minecart again, place it down, break it, and it should look a little something like that. Next, we want to go ahead and break this out. Now I know I said 2 pistons. If you want to bring a third for this one to make it easier, you can do that, or you can just work with the 2 that you have. So what we're going to do is we're going to push all the dirt forward into these hopper minecarts once again, just like the last build. So let me line this up like that, get my lever, and boom. Okay, that's done. Break these away, and we can go ahead and fill all this up again. Like that, and nah, we'll just throw those back. We can go ahead and break this block. So let's go ahead and check what we have. There's 2 rails in here, so let's throw this block, throw this redstone dust, and throw this lever. All 3 of them should have gone into our chest. Perfect. So those are set up correctly. Now let's go ahead and get into the rest. Now that we have that done, let's go ahead and build the rest of this farm. Now for time's sakes and for the tutorial, I'm only going to build half a side. And the only reason I'm doing half is because once we build one side up, we just repeat it on the exact opposite side, so it's mirrored. So with that, let's go ahead and come straight back from our center point, put a block down like this, grab a lever, place it down, get some redstone dust, place it right there, get your redstone repeater, place it facing out like that, get your piston, place it just like this. Next, grab your dropper, place it facing up. Next, put your hopper into the dropper like that, and go ahead, grab your blocks and wrap it around our piston like this. Grab your comparator, place it facing out from the dropper, the hopper is coming out right there, and then grab your redstone dust and put 2 down like that. So that is that circuit complete. Let me show you how it's going to work. Where you come back here, turn this on. This will always be on, giving us a constant power output. Grab a pumpkin here. As you can see, this circuit is incomplete. So what this is going to do, our pumpkin is going to grow. We forgot our sword, didn't we? Yes, we did. So put the sword into the hopper like that. Okay, now let's try that again. This is on, that's powered, this completes the circuit, and boom. So obviously we don't have our walls to keep it from flying everywhere, but you guys get the idea. Now let me explain how this works. Explain how this works. So we have our power given output, and what this does, once this grows, this completes that circuit, so it powers the pumpkin, which then powers the dropper, which then shoots the sword up into the hopper here, which then our comparator reads the sword that came into our hopper and gives a redstone output. Now the reason why we use a non-stackable item is because, let's take this out and put stackable item in like that, and let's try it again. Whoops. And you see it doesn't work. It actually gives us a weak redstone output of 1. Did it again. There we go. You can see it only gives us 1 output right there. Now when it comes to a non-stackable item, it actually gives us an output of 3. So by that, I mean if we have another block here, another piece of redstone, and let's put a piston right there. If we complete the circuit with a non-stackable item, you can see it gives us an output of 3. And that's why we do that. So with that, let's go ahead and finish up the farm. Since we are only doing one side, let's go ahead and put our water bucket in on this side. We are only going to need 1 water bucket. So what we want to do, come under this dropper, let's punch it out right there. And don't mind the hopper minecart being exposed, just put a bucket of water in like that. And go ahead and grab some glass, put it in right there. Ooh, it's not good. Come on this side, there we go. Like that. If you run into that issue and you select the hopper minecart, just come to the back side right here and then build up. So we have that trapped under the dropper. Again, it only needs 1 bucket of water. Come up 3 like that. And let's go ahead and enclose the rest of this. So put a block here, here, block right there, over this, and I'm going to put 1 more up like that. That way we are taking away chances for it to fly away. So if we go right there, you can see it's pretty much going right into the hoppers. Now that we finished that half of the build, I went ahead and skipped to the end of the build with both sides completed, as I said I would. Again, once we build one side, all you have to do is mirror it on the exact opposite side. So here's a quick overhead view of what the farm should look like. And for the last 2 pieces of glass, I went ahead and placed them over the redstone repeaters like that, just to kind of complete this little square up here, the 3x3 square. So let's go ahead and check it out. We have our chest down here that's empty. So let's place a pumpkin right here. It's going to grow. It grows on this side, pushes right in. It's going to grow on this side. And this will happen. This farm is not 100% lossless. That's the only downside, which is why we have all this glass and why I have the hopper dropper right here to kind of take away its chances of flying all over the place. Not really much we can do about that, but I think this farm is still pretty efficient overall. So let's go ahead and test our melons. Melon here. That all goes in. Check this side. See, we lost a couple, but for the most part it all collects down below and this farm works. So with that being said, this is the end of our tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it'll help you guys out in building pumpkin and melon farms in version 1.2.6. This has been Roguefox, and I'm out. See you later.